Hey, everybody. Welcome to the very first edition or very first episode of Deep Dive Haunts with the Paranormal Girls. We are going to start talking about our very first trip ever as a all female team and our very first investigation. We're going to get into that tonight. I have the whole team here with me. If you don't know me, I am Brenda. We have Tanya, Misty,
Mhm.
and Kathy. We're all going to talk a little bit about our experience on our trip on the way down there. If you all want to say hello real quick, then we'll go ahead and get started.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
And Tanya's like,
I was pouring water in my tea.
no worries, no worries. All right, guys. So, our very first trip as an investigative team was a long one. We spent 6 hours in the car just to get to the location. Then we spent another 6 hours investigating, and then we drove another 6 hours back home, all in one day. No sleeping, no nothing. It was very, very long. Um, but it was a great experience, not to say the least. Um, First off, I'm going to say McPike Mansion, Alton, Illinois. If you guys never heard of it, look it up. It is a beautiful, beautiful place to go. They are restoring it, hopefully back to its original glory. I think when we were there, she said they eventually wanted to turn it into a bed and breakfast. Was that right? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah,
At some point.
they're
Um,
doing.
but in the meantime, they do offer group investigation. Like you can go in and you can have a tour and you can see what you can experience while you're there. And they also do private investigations, which is what we did. They are super inexpensive and very, very affordable. They now have the first floor open. So you not only get the cellar and the rooms in the basement, you also get first floor. Hello out there. You also get the first floor to investigate as well. The place is super, super beautiful. The grounds are beautiful. Um, so they will get it restored to its full glory at some point, hopefully soon. They post updates all the time. They do have a Facebook page, so you guys can go out and follow that Facebook page and get the updates on getting the new floor updates and all that stuff that they're doing. Um, and you guys remind me, what was the name of the family that owned the place? Henry.
Henry, Henry, and I think Mary was his wife, McPike, and then his mom was Lydia. And then there was Thomas and Jenny.
There was a
Um,
there
Lydia
was
was
a
the wife.
whole no,
what's
Jenny
that?
was the daughter.
Lydia was
Jenny
the
was a
wife.
Oh, the
daughter.
Lydia was the wife. But
Hmm.
anyway, there after our investigation, even though it was our very first one that we did, we um, honestly, truly believe that the family is still there, very much still there. They're very active. They are very protective over their place, and it's beautiful. We were super, super green on this investigation. And when I tell you we were super green, hello out there. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Hi.
Pop a comment in so we can hopefully see your comments to know who's here. But we were so inexperienced. We
Hmm.
didn't have the storage cards for our cameras. We were very limited on that. We didn't have backup batteries to switch them out when they died. We didn't have chargers. We didn't have IR lights. Oh, well, they didn't last very long. Like everything died. We were so like literally, I think I got maybe 30 minutes worth of footage in 6 hours.
I think
Yeah.
all I had was my camera.
Yeah.
Apps on my camera. That's all I had. We were walking in like that with nothing.
Yeah, it was we experienced some things. So we wish, I got a couple little videos on my phone, but we really truly wish we would have been able to get more. Again, that's what happens when you start out and you're brand new and then you learn as you go. So you guys will learn across the board every week when we come back and do these little deep dive haunts, how we're growing and getting better as a team, which is awesome. If any comments are happening, I am sorry, I am not
Can't see
seeing
anything.
them. Kathy didn't like it showing on her face, so but I was hoping that they would pop in.
That's
But
okay. It's
um,
okay. I can be blocked out.
but anyway, so when we shut all the lights off and went dark, we were dark. We didn't have flashlights. I mean, we had flashlights, but we didn't use flashlights. We had what IR light we had on the cameras, which wasn't very much. And so it was
And a grid light.
it and
That
yeah,
was the
and
only thing.
a grid light. And that was about the extent of
Mhm.
anything that we had. We solely had to rely on our senses and what we could actually focus on in the dark. So we did this is really funny. When we first started out, we would do a sweep of the room looking for hello, Myra. Um, we would do a sweep of the room doing a baseline reading, looking for that EMF, the spikes and all of that good stuff. So we did that. We found an abnormally, I think Misty had out a temperature gun,
Yeah.
and we found an abnormally hot spot in the cellar. Most of the cellar was 56 degrees or something
Yeah.
like that. And this one
Mhm.
particular space was 80. We
Yeah.
went above it, we went below it, we went side to side, just 80 degrees in this one concentrated spot right above a chair. No explanation, guys. No explanation. But with that being said, at any investigation we've done since then, we have never done a baseline sweep. Y'all realize that. We do not go in. We do not check. I mean, we check EMF like on our electrical equipment,
Right.
but we do not do a baseline sweep. Why? We don't know. We just don't. We did.
We
We need
just
to
jump
try.
into it, but
But yeah,
we're just
yeah.
like, hello,
So,
here we are.
right, right.
Why
So,
not?
Myra, Tanya, and Kathy were the ones that weren't there, but now you get to meet them.
Hi,
And
Myra.
they will be with us on April 11th when we come back. We're super excited. That's for later down the road. Anyway, what was your guys' first initial thought after we got to the location and we were getting ready to investigate? Was you nervous? Was you scared? Was you excited? Tanya.
Oh, she can't talk right now.
She's
Can't talk
muted.
yet.
Okay, Kathy, go ahead.
I know coming up to it, like it was this, outstanding mansion, and I was looking at this and I just thought it was beautiful. It was stunning. And I had like some anxiety to start, as soon as we could get in, and just wanting to know what history, stood behind it. And Sharon there was really good about, bringing us in and touring us and talking to us about it. But, it just, I didn't feel really any like, um, fear or anything. It felt semi comfortable to me, except for the room where the old uh boiler is, where that staircase is. That room we have a problem, but otherwise it just, it I didn't feel anything evil in there. Let's just say that.
For those
Um
guys, oh, go ahead.
there was a mix of what the grounds felt like compared to what you felt inside the house there. So there's some history on those grounds too, which maybe next time, we'll spend a little bit more time out there to see what we can find too. So, yep,
Misty?
that's me.
Well, I gotta say, when I first got up there, I started feeling really giddy. And no, and it was because I was excited. This was our first time doing anything like this, and I was excited about it. But
Mhm.
I also was standing there with everybody and was hearing something whispering in my ear at the same time, and I'm like, oh, well, this is really interesting. So, I mean, honestly, it was just a really electric experience for me. But there was reason behind that as well. So,
And we'll
Mhm.
get into that in just a little bit.
yeah.
Tanya?
They're quiet now. I don't know. When we first walked in, I was just, the house is gorgeous. It's
Mhm.
just basic bones of it from everything that it's gone through. I felt comfortable. I felt welcome. It was so welcoming and open and inviting, like you were going in for a cup of tea with the lady of the house. It was very welcoming.
Exactly.
Nothing in it felt threatening at all. There were things while we were doing the history of the house that the four of us each had something different happen, just to kind of let us know, hey, you're in our home. But it was just a very welcoming, very beautiful, very comfortable place.
Mhm.
Right. So, Misty, Myra asked if you're coming back to the Aurora brothel.
Oh, yeah, I am. Definitely.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, as far as Kathy, Tanya, and I go, we knew what our abilities were when we first started. Um, I am an empath,
Yeah.
Kathy's an empath, and Tanya's a medium. Misty's like, I have no idea. I don't even know if I have any special gifts. So I don't know. However, she's like, yeah, she's like, I don't think I have anything. Within what, 10 minutes of being in the basement, down there in the cellar room, we found
Mhm.
out super quick what Misty's abilities were. Super quick.
I didn't think it was 10 minutes.
Yeah. So Tanya hit on Sharon, the owner, gave us history, but she did not. When we were down in the cellar to begin with, doing our baseline and investigating, we did not know any history really
She
of
came over later.
the house. She went home to take her husband home, feed him dinner, and she's like, "When I come back, I'll give you the history.
Mhm.
We'll go through some pictures, blah blah blah. But in the meantime, go investigate." So we did, and so we're in the basement, and Misty, to give you a little backside on Misty, she's gone through a lot in her back issues. She's, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but like she can't bounce around like people normally can. Like steps are kind of hard for her and stuff like that. Well, we get in the cellar, and then Misty just starts doing weird things.
Oh, it was wonderful.
It was
And I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to let Misty let you in on it. So,
Oh, gosh. Well, honestly, I was kind of just going up and down the stairs like I didn't have a care in the world. They weren't big stairs, so obviously I didn't hurt myself, but it was more than I normally do. But oh, got a blackout here.
woo, the ghosties.
Right.
Uh,
Well, basically, I started getting really energetic and like feeling like a little kid, and I was bouncing around like I had a ton of sugar, and I was or a bunch of energy drinks as a child would, just bouncing around and acting off kilter, which I don't normally do. I'm a pretty quiet and reserved person anyway, so it was very out of character for me. But
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say we had always made a pact that we would not split off and go by ourselves until we were to the point where we were comfortable doing that, because I don't want anybody to feel threatened or anything of that nature. But Misty was like, "Do you care if I go over here?" I'm like, "By yourself?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, literally, we're like 15 feet from her, so it's not like she was, in totally a different part of the house. But she did. She took off. And she made a new friend while she was there, and the friend's name was
Jin Jin.
So we go back upstairs. Sharon comes back. We heard her. We go upstairs. And she starts telling us about the history of McPike Mansion and the family. And then she talks about McPike's granddaughter being named Jenny, going by the nickname Jen Jen.
Mm-hmm.
We were floored. We were like all looking at each other like, what? Like, whatever. So at that point, we figured out that Misty is a channeler. She can channel energy. She can feel the spirits. So that was actually quite interesting and fun. You'll learn as time goes on in our episodes as we go down the road. Her and her channeling abilities kind of gets her in trouble sometimes as we move forward. But
A little bit.
to say the least, we had to go find Misty. She disappeared on us.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't in the room she said she was going to be in, so we had to go find her. She literally was gone like 15, 20 minutes. I find her right outside the door. She had no idea how long she had been out there.
It felt like 2 minutes, honestly. It really did.
So yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was different.
she wanted to
telling you.
skip and hopscotch and she
And
sing. Yeah, she was like
was
a child. It was
when she was
fun.
asked where she was, she said, "I wanted to go play on the swings,
Yes.
but there's poison ivy."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay.
But I'm not allergic to poison ivy. I can literally pull it out of the ground and not have anything. So I don't know why.
Well,
I would have
Jenny's
said
probably
that.
allergic to poison ivy.
Yeah, Jen might be allergic to poison. Yeah, I don't know. So
It was
well,
entertaining.
what's that?
It was entertaining watching her. I'm gonna go play.
Yeah,
Go play.
yeah. She was very bouncy. She was fidgety in her chair. She couldn't sit still. She was running like she had so much energy. Like, we're all just like sitting there like, what is wrong with this lady? Like, we had no idea. So when we put the grid light up that she was talking about, the chairs in the cellar are the plastic lawn chairs. You know what I'm talking about, the plastic chairs that you sit outside in. The cellar is full of them because when they have their public group tours, they take everybody down and they show history and everything. Well, Misty took a chair and straddled 2 other chairs and then put her grid light in it to shine on the back of the cellar. We're sitting there, we're asking questions, we're going through everything. There might have been a noise that we were paying attention to. I don't remember exactly. You guys got to remember this was back in June 2024. So it's been a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, the chair that's straddling 2 chairs, mind you, at this point, this chair had been sitting in this same spot for, I don't know, probably 30, 45 minutes. It came crashing down. Something ran up and knocked it off. The first thing we did was try to debunk it. We were trying to figure out if it was maybe sitting too close to the edge and it slid off, like what was happening. So I'm grateful that none of us ran. We all went into
Yeah.
debunk mode, like right off the bat, which is awesome. But it came crashing down so hard that it literally, and I mean, none of us seen it coming. We just heard boom, and then it hit. We put the chair back, and it didn't move the rest of the night that we were there. It was just that one time. It was really really crazy to experience that part of it. After that, we decided to do some Estes methods. I did an Estes method. If y'all have never done an Estes method, it is really hard in the beginning when you don't know what you're really listening for. And you're going through all the radio sweeps and you're hearing this and you're hearing that, and you don't know what to say or what not to say. And you have all those, going on, and it can be super overwhelming. So I did the best that I could do. And then I'd had enough, and I asked who wanted to do it next. And Tanya went under next. I was the only one with cameras at this point. I had two. I was using one. Misty was using one. She was recording while Tanya was, while we were doing the SS methods. Mind you, our batteries kept dying quick, so we would not use the cameras all the time, like we highlighted what we were using them for to kind of preserve that. But Tanya was doing her Estes method, and all of a sudden you hear Misty go, "Oh snap, I think I just cut an orb." And it's on video, and like I can post that at any time, and you see an orb kind of right over Tanya's head and over my head. It is the only white ball of energy in the entire basement. There were, you never seen any dust. You didn't see nothing. So it was just this one ball that just kind of went floating across, and then it disappeared. But I want Tanya to talk about her experiences while she was doing the Estes method. Some of the things, if she can remember what she was hearing, and what made her get out of doing the Estes method.
First time ever doing the Estes method, had no idea what I was getting into. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. It's really hard. The first time through is really hard, but I was getting so much random stuff that didn't make any sense at all. Toward the end of the Estes method, I don't even know how long I was doing it, but toward the end of the Estes method, I got the word Afton, and then I had a flash in my face of ground squirrels. And I have a history with ground squirrels and my dad. And then it said poltergeist. And that was a danger signal for me. So I whipped the headset off, and there's Misty chasing coming charging at me because Misty.
I saw something, and I don't know what it was because it wasn't the most visualable thing, but like a disturbance about the height of it, maybe an 8-year-old child or so running straight at us. And it made me stand up and like get right in front of them, because all I could think of was block them, make sure that nothing's getting at them. I don't know why, probably just your brain going, hey, stop danger from coming at people who are unaware of what's going on. But it literally felt like something was rushing at me. Somebody was chasing me. That's the feeling I got. And trying to scare them.
Mm-hmm.
But
So yeah. So
Yeah.
before the Estes method, when I was sitting by the chair that was put back up, whoever was talking to me wasn't being very nice.
Mm.
Remember that I got called stupid and I got called all sorts of stuff. And I was like, well, if you're going to be rude, I'm not going to talk to you.
Right. Yeah. She was running an app on her phone. I don't even remember what it was. Like uh, Ghost Tube,
It was
Ghost Tube
something.
or something.
It was something that a paranormal team that I was with had told me to use. So I downloaded it, and he was
Yeah.
calling me all sorts of not very nice stuff. And it's like, if you're going to be rude,
Mhm.
I'm just not going to talk to you.
And like I went in to the area that Kathy hit on earlier, where the summer kitchen was,
Mm.
in the basement where the broiler and stuff was. I went to put a camera over there, and all of a sudden on that app she was using, it was like something like, "Where's she going?" or something, and or tell her to stop or come back or something. I mean, whoever was talking was being very rude, um, and told us to stop recording, and was just trying to shut us down. And she ended up shutting it off.
Yes.
So
He was very aware of us. Like, I mean, he
Yeah.
was totally there watching because he was like, "Who is she? Where is she going? What is that?" But he was, yeah, he
He was
wasn't
nosy.
nice.
It
He
was a
was
male
nosy.
voice. It was a
Yeah.
male voice that was talking, but whether it was actually a male
You never
speaking or
know.
if it was a female, like, we don't know.
Never know.
So yeah. So to say the least, for it being our first investigation ever, it was eventful. We had things happen that, I mean, while it wasn't like super above and beyond, I mean, it was still enough for us being first time investigators that we actually were like, this is actually some really cool stuff. We decided to go back into this room where the broiler, whatever, the boiler system was that they used for the summer kitchen. And there's a back stairwell, and it's wood and it's old. And I don't even know where it comes out at upstairs, besides in the kitchen, because at that point we couldn't do much on the first floor. But Tanya walks in the room. I don't know. Kathy, were you in the room already too?
I was kind of like tagging behind you guys. I was trying to get a feel. That room didn't feel right, but it was short lived. And I ended up going back out. I mean, as whatever happened there, and you all, it was a rush. All I know is Tanya started getting dry heaves and was not feeling well. Her stomach hurt. It was like maybe something hit her in the stomach, and
Yep.
it was so, yeah, it was like we backed out.
Yeah.
Now we go back. I want to sit on those steps.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know Tanya went through first, and I was in the doorway,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
something wasn't allowing me to move past that doorway. Like, it
It
didn't want me to go in there.
was like it's private space at
Yeah,
that point in time. It didn't want us in there.
right. And I was very hesitant about going in there, but Misty's like, I want to go in there. You need to move.
Hmm.
So I stepped in the room, and Misty went right past me, and she was like way in the room. By that point,
She was
Tanya had
skipping.
already felt like she had gotten gut punched and left. And I was a step or two inside the room, and Kathy was starting to come in the room, and she was like, no, I'm not doing it. And then I started feeling sick, and I'm like, I have to leave. And I'm like, Misty, you need to come out. Like, and she's just standing in there, like,
She just says
no,
hi.
no fear, Misty.
Well, no, it felt like, I hate to say it, it felt like a power up. I mean, the energy in that room was so explosive when I first walked in that I was just like absorbing everything I was feeling, and I was just like, well, okay, that it was a lot. It felt like a seal got broken on that room.
Hmm.
And so, we hung out in that room as long as we could, and we left. And we were doing some other things. We went upstairs into like their gift shop area, because that was one room that we could do upstairs. We did have some things happen while we were in that room. We could hear some talking. We could hear like walking around. We had cat balls and everything set up, but we got way more stuff in the basement than we did,
Mm-hmm.
or in the cellar portion, I should say,
Yeah.
than we did in the first floor. So it'll be exciting to go back to where we can have the full first floor, which is actually 4 big rooms and a hallway. The
Oh
hallway has
yeah.
stairs that go upstairs. When we were up there, though, we were like taking pictures. I think Tanya saw a shadow pop out of the doorway upstairs. Um,
I
we have
if I can interrupt, I got some
sure.
interesting um you know, not to say, because when you're taking pictures of windows, you're outside, and I mean you're gonna have, you know, elements like reflections and the tree limbs and all that, but I have a couple of interesting photos. They were at night, and in its second floor windows, and I have some other windows there to compare, but in one I have, it looks like a woman in the window, and she's got like a hat. I guess you would call them a fascinator type of hat, old time hat. And like lower, there's like, it looks like a smaller child's face, and then lower yet, like a little dog maybe with her. And then I had another reflection kind of a woman's face. And then looking back at these pictures today, in one of the other frames, other picture, but this is all second floor windows. There's like a hand. It almost looks like a reflection. It's got like when you're holding a cigarette. And then also two, a gentleman, you know, dressed in old time clothing. The odd thing is though, is when I download everything on my laptop, they're not as prominent for some reason is when I have them on my cell phone. So I don't know what the difference would be with that. There's some fuzz, you know, but yeah, I'm still trying to figure out, you know, am I seeing what I'm seeing, or is it just, you know, reflections and things that are, you know, because those are
Pictures,
old windows. Yeah.
yeah, pictures are really hard. I have some that are from the third story there that looks like a man is looking out the window. When I
Mm-hmm.
posted it on that page, I got kiboshed. They're like, it's just a reflection, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I,
But
and
you don't
it
know. I
it
mean,
totally could be a reflection. I'm not, and I put
mhm.
on there as I was posting it, it could be a reflection. I'm not saying it's paranormal,
Right.
but
It's
when
just
you're
interesting, and so what you're seeing, you know, and it does look like somebody from old time era, you know.
and when you're on the ground floor, the ground outside on
Mhm.
the ground, and this place, the windows are the third floor up. The only thing really to reflect up that high are trees,
Yeah.
and
And there's
everybody talks
nothing on second. I mean, there was nothing on second floor. I mean, they didn't even use it, or they were getting ready to work on it. So
correct.
there wasn't anything that would be up against those windows, or, you know.
And everybody talks about pareidoia, and that's one reason why
Yeah.
I don't post a lot of pictures unless I've gotten clarity several times that it's
Mm-hmm.
legit.
Mm-hmm.
Because our minds will always make us want to see things that aren't
Oh
always there.
yeah.
I found a face in pizza once. Like, I mean, it's just it's there. Because our
Yeah.
minds, we try to see things that aren't there. I just find it kind of compelling or interesting when you have stuff that are from that far up.
Mm-hmm.
What necessarily would be, trying to be the debunkers, what would be that far up or would reflect from that angle to cause it to make it look like that. So
Exactly.
I don't always throw pictures out, but I don't always credit them either.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times you just don't know.
Well, I know
Yeah.
in the basement, I did rapid fire and I took like 10 pictures in a row
Mm-hmm.
in the basement, and you can distinctly see what I believe is an orb moving up and back down. Those pictures I'll be forwarding to the group later because I went back
Okay.
through and looked at it today and I'm like, yep, it's right there. And you can see where it moves up and right back down. in a
Mhm.
rapid fire succession, probably 10 pictures in 15 seconds.
Well, and when you were doing the rapid shot on the stairs, wasn't there the one where it looked like that shadow popped out as well?
Yes, I
'Cause
have
it
that
was
one too.
longer than the rest of the pictures.
I have one directly before that one, and one directly after it. Because every
Okay.
time I take a picture, it's rapid fire, and it's as many pictures as I can get in 5 seconds.
Mhm.
Hello out there, everybody. Make sure you guys are saying hi in the comments so we can shout you out. Thanks for joining. All right. Kathy, I know you've been talking a little bit, but what other experiences did you have that you were there that maybe we haven't touched on, or that you didn't even share at that point because you really didn't know?
I know, because coming into it, the first time ever going on any type of investigation and not really knowing what, to expect. A lot of a big portion of the night, especially when we're walking, the path that goes to the door from outside that leads into the cellar and all of that.
Mhm.
Just a really strong feeling of being followed, having somebody right there. I could feel the tingling like on the back of my neck, my arms, are tingling, and I kept looking behind me, and it seemed like it was so strong every time we were walking down that path to go into that cellar basement door. Once, and I almost felt like I had to rush at certain points to get in there so I could lose what was ever following me. I think at one point I turned around and I said, "Hey, you know, you know, back off, back away," because I could just feel, the strong presence, and it was just following, but I didn't feel it follow in once we were in. It was just that pathway,
Right.
which was really odd. But for me too, I just kind of felt like, I know that we heard when we went back into the where they had like I think it's a parlor, but they had like a gift shop in there.
Mhm.
I think it was near when we were ending near the end of the night, and you could hear walking or footsteps above us. And of course,
Yeah.
bedrooms would be up there probably. And I felt like at one point they were going to bed. And I remember, it was like, they're going to bed. I guess we need to say goodnight, and then I think then near the end of the investigation, it got just really silent, but it just felt like a family. You could feel the family.
Didn't Sharon tell us that they taught school on the second floor?
There's a room up there, yeah, that was a
It was like a
classroom.
schoolroom.
And maybe there might be a ballroom or something. Be interesting to see if we can see some of that upstairs. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, I keep teasing her every now and then, when I hop on, when she posts something, I'll keep asking her, when are you gonna get my bedroom done? Because I want to come. I mean, that's how comfortable I am, really. I don't feel spooked. I feel like I want to sleep overnight. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
Just part of the family.
we did
Yeah,
learn.
here I am. I'm joining the
Right.
McPikes.
Right. We did learn while we were there that, like, if you respect the family, um they seem to be more willing to interact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was interesting. This, you guys, I got the glare all of it, but that's
Yeah,
McPike.
it's a beautiful place.
But I want to show you guys. Okay, so can you guys see? This is the side of the building.
Oh yeah.
These third floor windows is what I'm talking about when I was talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Third floor windows. I don't, and these would have been the second floor windows that Kathy's talking about. Because
Yes.
this is the first floor. So so when we're talking about, you know, possibly seeing things in windows where, yes, trees could reflect, but also how would anything else reflect from the angles? Like how could it be? Myra, it's gorgeous. It is so beautiful. Even with them redoing everything that they're redoing, and it was like tore apart when we were there. It
Mm-hmm.
is beautiful, and you can see like you can just picture what it was like in the glory days. And yeah, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
building. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But so another thing that Kathy mentioned, going out onto the grounds. We did go out on the grounds a little bit. The grounds are a little eerie.
Mhm.
I know that there was it 2 or 3 crypts that they had found.
Yeah, there's family crypts. I think I know of 2. I don't know
I
about
think they
the
were
3rd.
children's and they removed the
The
headstones.
the last I was
Mhm.
gonna say the last one that they found was I wanted to say it was a baby.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's small. And of course, when we were there was a lot of stuff that was overgrown. Um, so we didn't spend a lot of time out in the grounds. Although it sits it sits up on a hill. There's a river down below. There's trees in between, and those tree lines were creepy. Like
Yeah.
we just felt like we were being watched. We're in the middle of the yard, and we just felt like we were being watched from within those trees. It was very creepy. So yeah, going back and doing a little bit more um, outside, um, investigating or exploring outside would actually end up being very good and very helpful. I do kind of want to see if we can find those crypts because they are still there. You can walk up on them. Um, just to see. And she's
Mhm.
like, you can go back there. You can, that's fine. Just don't, tear them up. Don't desecrate. Like we would never do that anyway because we're not disrespectful like that. But
No. No.
um,
We
so
did.
it,
We were asked repeatedly, though, why we were there.
yes,
Yeah.
Why are you here?
yep.
Mhm.
Um, we were 4 women, no men. So we were getting questioned a lot as to what are you doing here? Why are you here?
So
Right.
kind of felt like they are from their time and they're seeing these 3 women and they're like, what are you? Who are you? Why are you here? At one time didn't one of a voice come over and ask if we were necromancer or something like that. I think on one of our EVPs or
Um,
something. Yeah. And so we were like, no, we don't, we don't do that,
yeah.
Oh,
Well, and at the time we didn't know what necromancer meant.
not
Like
quite,
we
no.
we didn't know.
It took
That
us
was
a while to
Um,
figure out what they were talking about.
correct.
Yeah.
we've
But
learned
I'm gonna
things.
look it up again because I don't remember the exact terminology. But um, necromancy meaning is the supposed practice of communicating with the dead. So when they were calling us necromancers, that was actually true because
Hmm.
we were trying to speak to the dead.
Right.
And we get that in a lot of locations that we go to. We will get that same word.
Mhm.
So it's interesting much they, um, how much the spirits like to use that word, and they know the meaning of that word. It's really
Mhm.
crazy that
Yeah.
they do that. Hello, everybody. Thanks for popping in. Um, so one thing when we were getting closer to the end of the evening, you remember I was talking about the chairs sitting on the other chairs with the grid light.
Hmm.
Um, I maybe it was when Tanya was doing her Estes method. I don't remember, but the grid light goes out, like completely out, and Misty walks over to see because if you guys have the grid lights, the pin lights, you have to hold them down or use like a hair tie or whatever to hold that button down to keep them working. Um, so she walked over to see if maybe it slid, because when they're tight, they'll, that stuff, it moves in your hair. Why wouldn't it move on other things? But she went over to see if it was that. When she went to reach for it, it came back on.
I'll be right back.
Okay. It came back on. And she went ahead and because you could see her reach for it on because I was on my phone video. and you could see it come back on. And she went ahead and she grabbed it and she double checked it and everything and she put it back. It's slid down in between the backs. The grid light had been on all night long, had never fluctuated, didn't go out, nothing until this point. And then, so she went back over and sat down. And then, I don't know, I was busy doing something. I don't know what I was doing, but I don't remember if it was Kathy, but somebody goes, the grid light went out again. And I was like, what? And I looked up and it had went out. And I was like, can you turn it back on? And it came back on again. And I'm like, okay, thank you very much. You know, like it did it like 3 or 4 times. Like, can you shut it off? And it would go off. And the button that I'm talking about is sitting up. It's not touching anything but that hair tie. So what was manipulating that? Don't know. My guess is it was Jin Jin. She was liking the light. She wanted to play with it. But I honestly don't know. It was definitely an experience for sure. It was great. So anything else that happened while we were there that I don't remember. I got a mark on my leg. Don't know how that happened. Still to this day, I don't know how it happened. It looked like the curve of a fingernail, and it actually broke my skin.
I have a picture
Yeah,
of it.
I'm
Yeah, it
not
does
saying
look like a
I do too.
fingernail.
I'm not saying it's paranormal. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it happened.
Mhm.
All I know is I went into the Kaibo porta potty, the outside restroom, whatever you guys call it in your area. I went in, I was fine. I came out and I had it, and I didn't touch my leg because it was below my knee. So that was kind of interesting.
Mhm.
So yeah, we all have pictures of it. So we also try to document. We slacked the last couple of locations, but we also try to document before we go in if we have any scratches, any bruises, anything like that before we go in. So that way, if somebody notices it during the night, we can go, oh yeah, we already knew that was there, and we're not trying to say that it was something paranormal. So if y'all don't do that, that might be something to consider. Just making mental notes or marking, you know, what you have as far as the scratch and stuff. Because I'm a person, I can hit my hip on a desk and then a week later see a bruise and be like, how did I get that? Because I don't even remember. So just documenting those kind of things is super helpful, especially when somebody doesn't know it and they're like, oh my God, you have a bruise. How did you get that? And then you're starting to think, you're like, I don't know how I got the bruise. So then you're starting to
Mhm.
replay everything in your head, like what happened, you know, and it just makes it a lot easier to do that. Knowing what we know now as of today, after all of these investigations that we have done to date, give me one thing that you would have done differently on that very first investigation at McPike Mansion, Misty.
Um, I would have had my own camera, just so that we would have had extras filming the whole area. So I wish we had more equipment.
Tanya,
I'm gonna say
okay.
that too. Yeah.
More equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a bunch of equipment for sure. Tanya,
I don't know. I like I said earlier, I wish we would have been, at least one of us would have been videotaping different aspects of the room while she was giving us the history of the room, because there was
Yeah.
so much going on in there while
Yeah.
she was giving us.
You could hear a lot. There was just noise everywhere. Yeah.
We
It
all
was
got
amazing.
something there.
There was movement. All 4 of us had something going with us. I wish that we would have been thinking enough to know to at least one of us videotape something to at least sweep the room to get a feel for Lydia in the corner, Mr. McPike in the hallway,
Yes.
Jenny whispering at Misty, or the person blowing on Kathy's neck. You know, we could have caught something because all 4 of us had something different going on.
Mm-hmm.
and that was sitting in the room with the light on and the lady giving us the history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You
It
had
was
Mr.
happening. We weren't even investigating. We were getting the history, and all of this stuff was happening around us.
Mhm.
So McPike Mansion, Alton, Illinois. If you guys have never been there, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you can use multiple cameras shooting different angles, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Because there is stuff that you are going to catch. Um, that is my thing. Like I've started getting better at setting my camera over on one side of the room and like catching us in it while we're kind of doing our investigating and stuff like that. But it would be nice to be able to have more cameras aimed in other directions. You know, like one camera's facing this way, but another one's facing this way, because sometimes, you also have to be careful of the IR lights, but sometimes, you know, things will happen at one angle, but not at another. So everything is always ongoing and learning more and more and more as we go along. But it's super fun. I love doing it. Um, I love all the locations we go to. Each week, we are going to highlight a new location that we go to, and we are starting. Like tonight was our very first investigation. Next week is going to be our second. So we are going to go in consecutive order up to the point where we ended in November of 2025. You've been testing body cams, girl. Let me know, because we've been talking about getting body cams. Like I have a few in my Amazon cart. Like, not even gonna lie. Because I think body cams are really the way to go, because if you don't have your camera going, because sometimes when you're walking around, like going upstairs, you don't have your camera going. But if you have a body cam on that's always going, you're always filming. Yeah, but I think body cams are an amazing idea for sure.
I have one. I just can't figure it out because I'm not smart enough.
Right? Yeah, for real. So yeah, so next week, Tanya is not going to be able to be here, unfortunately, but she didn't go on our second investigation with us anyway. Um, she was there mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, because she's a medium, she can do that. But she wasn't there physically because she was on vacation when we went. But us other three went to Squirrel Cage Jail. That was an interesting time. So
was
that is what
interesting.
our episode next week, the Deep Dive Haunts episode 2, is going to be Squirrel Cage Jail. We're going to get into that, and I think this is just going to be a fun series, and I'm hoping that I'm pretty sure we have enough locations to get us through until we go back into investigating, which will be
Not soon enough.
I know,
May?
definitely not soon enough, but I'm trying to see if I
Yeah.
can get something lined up for March. Because that's when we started last year, was March.
I just
We're back
don't
into March
like
this month.
snow, and I don't like being cold. And our last investigation, that was off the charts. On top of it being off the charts, I was freezing to death, and
I'm
filling everything I was filling on top of freezing to death was not a good experience. So
For
I'd be
sure,
a little
for sure.
warmer.
Yeah. As we go along this journey, it's the episodes are going to get a little bit more intense. They're going to get a little bit more active. Like more stuff is going to be coming out. I'm actually going to do a couple of weeks. The girls are more than welcome to join me. A couple episodes where I was in Ohio in July of last year, Ohio and Illinois. And so there's a couple of locations. I'm going to be talking about those. The Illinois location, that was a collab. So there was other teams that were there with us. With me doing those, because my team wasn't able to go, but I was still there representing us. So just like different things, but ultimately, when we get to the end of 2025 and the Garnett House being the last, you guys will be in for a real treat. Our last two investigations, Aurora Brothel and the Garnett Hotel, those are going to be doozies for you guys. That's your spoiler alerts. Those are definitely going to be doozies. So hang tight. Thank you guys so much for joining. Is there anything else you guys want to mention before we get out of here for this week?
Is there
Don't
anybody on
everybody
here
talk at
asking any
once.
questions?
Yeah, anybody got any questions about anything that we've talked about? Alton, Illinois, if you guys are wondering, it's about 30 minutes north of St. Louis, Missouri. And it actually has several locations in that town that are haunted. I need to get back on to Alton and find it, but occasionally I'll find somebody that posts another location. So there's several locations in Alton that are haunted that you guys can go explore. So I'll be throwing those out on the location of the days. I really hate that we cannot. I'm going to have to put Business Suite back on my phone, I guess, so I can schedule posts again. But I really hate that Facebook took that away because now I don't remember to do it at 6, or I'm not off work at 6, so I can't post them right at 6. So I post them when I think about it. So they're very sporadic, but I am trying to get those out on a daily basis till. What is the coolest evidence we've got? So far to date, Tanya, what's the coolest evidence you think we've gotten from a location?
From any location?
Any location.
The Joker, the laugh that Tim has.
Oh, at Edinburgh?
Yes.
Edinburgh Manor?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's got to be the coolest because it is a distinct laugh.
Yeah, but you have to have headphones on to hear it, because if you don't have headphones on, you don't hear it. But it is menacing.
Yeah.
Kathy, what is the coolest piece of evidence you think that we've gotten from any location?
Oh, wow. Does it have to be like photo or an EVP or
Whatever coolest evidence you think we've gotten?
anything like that?
It could be a photo, it could be personal experience, it could be EVP, it could be anything.
Well, let's see. I mean, there's been quite a few different things. I think when we were in Oskaloosa and we were just touring at that time, and something kept following me, and it was playing with my arm. And at first I kept thinking, is there a spider on me? Is there a web on me? And it just continued, and it was just like, and I remember the gal that was guiding us, she was like, what's going on back there? And we got to the end of the tour and stuff, and I was explaining to her, and ran my fingers across her arm to show her how that felt. She was like, no, no, no. She says, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. So, I mean, I'm always getting my head tapped or my hair tugged or my arm touched. So, yeah.
Yeah. Misty?
Well, actually, Oskaloosa has a couple pretty cool ones. I have a video of where I put my video camera down, and it spun a whole different direction,
I
and
remember
we're
that.
standing away from it. Yeah, and the other one was the picture on my phone that was reversed, where it was the Pepsi machine that was upside down on my phone, and there was no reason because I was taking fast pictures and stuff.
So
I still don't know why. I did that.
Let me go back to this camera thing that she was talking about, which we will definitely get into in that. But we have evidence on other cameras, because by this time we've gotten more cameras on other cameras where we are all completely away from this table when this happens. So that's what I'm gonna say there. Jen Fick says her coolest evidence was at Beale Manor in the attic. She caught the ball rolling at her. which she caught on her body cam. That is awesome. I love
Cool.
that. I actually, the coolest piece of evidence for me, one of the coolest pieces of evidence, it's pinned at the top of our page. It is the EVP that I caught from Edinburgh Manor. It says, I am happier in the afterlife. It's like a 30-second snippet, and it's right at the end, and you hear me moving and a bunch of noises. But it's very clear, and it's at the end. That is one of the coolest pieces of evidence I have gotten. And then the other one was back in July when I was at Ashmore Estates. I have a video evidence of a shadow that I caught on camera. It goes, boom. And right after that, the guy on the other side of the room goes, I just saw a shadow. And it like that shadow hit, and he goes, I just saw a shadow. So my camera picked it up, and he saw it at the same time. So a couple of really cool pieces.
Cool.
That's very, very awesome. I am still going through evidence, and I got to go back. Another really cool piece. I shared this a little bit a while back. It was at the Aurora brothel. Some Southern lady is talking at the beginning of that video, and it's none of us.
No.
So that's out there on our page. That was a really cool piece of evidence. So the more time goes on and the more we get into these locations and a little bit of everything and do the deeper dives and all that stuff, you guys are going to be catching up more and more of the cool evidence that we're going to show. I'm going to try to figure out StreamYard a little bit, because I know I can add like little snippets, and maybe I'll be able to put like those little clips in so you guys can hear them. You don't have to go out and search our page for it. But I'll definitely do that. But every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to be doing deep dive haunts. Again, thank you, ladies, for joining in. Tanya, if I know you can't join in, but if you can pop in at any time next week when we're live talking about Squirrel Cage, please do so.
I'll pop in and I'll have it set, but I'll have the volume off because y'all don't need to hear me working.
Yeah, just mute it.
Oh, okay.
Just mute your mic.
And while we're talking about Oskaloosa, if I go through one of my videos, one of my recordings, I do have that cat purring on my recording.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you guys, Squirrel Cage Jail was no joke. We will get into that next week. Thanks for joining, Myra. We appreciate you.
Hi.
So the 10th, we are going to talk about Squirrel Cage Jail. The 17th, Kathy, it says you're out on my thing, so you won't be here. But the 17th, we're going to talk about Oskaloosa. If you're able to pop in at all, you
On
can
the
do that.
17th, what am I doing on?
I don't know. I just have that you're out Sunday, Monday. I think you have an appointment on Monday. I think that might have been why.
Maybe, yeah. I'll check. And what was it going to be? Oskaloosa?
Oskaloosa.
Okay.
On the 17th. So Oskaloosa,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a schedule so you guys know what locations are coming up that we're going to be talking about. And then after that, we will talk about Edinburgh Manor. And then we will jump into 2025, which was a crazy year. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. Girls, hang out. Stick with me while I end it. But we will see you next Sunday night. Thank y'all.
Bye.